Good morning, everyone. My name is Willow, and I'm one of the youth here at First Unitarian Church of Wilmington. For visual accessibility, I'm a tall transgender girl with long brown hair and a mask. We welcome you no matter your race, gender identity, sexual orientation, or any other characteristic that makes you beautiful and unique. We welcome all kinds of backgrounds so that way we may grow and learn about each other in the hope of a more compassionate world and the promise of a better tomorrow. If you are new here, please fill out the connection card found on the chairs in front of you. This will allow you to access the weekly newsletter, as well as any other information that you might need. I would also like to greet our children here in the sanctuary, as we are very glad to have you here this Sunday. On your left, there's a camera for the people joining us online. Please wave to the camera. Now, if you would turn and greet those around you. In a fast-moving world, life can feel dizzying and can be very hard to focus on what truly matters. Today, the youth group is here to talk about paying attention, quite literally. How can we budget our attention for the most important aspects of our lives? What does that look like for each of us? How do we balance our responsibilities and our social life? What about paying attention to our environment and our relationship with nature? How can we be a better friend, family member, or partner and, to those we love and pay attention to them? How can we remember to pay attention to what we ourselves need? Through many distractions and chaos in our lives, we need to take a step back and ask ourselves, am I really paying attention? And now, let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
Today's call to worship is The Beauty of Just Getting to Be by Reverend Scott Taylor. Let go. Let go of those worries that push you into the future. Let go of your regrets that pull you into the past. Let go of your judgments that focus you on what's missing rather than what's being offered. Let go of your perfected plans that blind you to the wilderness of the world. Let go so you can finally be here, so you can notice, finally, the sweet stillness that wants to lure and love you into the beauty of just getting to be. Reese will light our chalice here. Reese will light our chalice here in this sanctuary. We invite those at home to light their chalice with us. Today's chalice lighting words are called to presence by Rev Bob Janice Dillon. Here within these walls, here in this community of love and justice, we pause our busy lives to consider what is worthy of our deepest yearnings. In the time we are given here, may we pay attention to the wonder of each moment. May we grieve what is lost, and may we be grateful for our life on this beautiful earth, and may we prepare ourselves for the work love calls us to do, just as we are many, we, the beloved community. Please rise and body your spirit to join the singing, Find a Stillness. Please remain standing after the hymn for a unison affirmation.
Is it on? Oh, it's on. Okay, that's on.
I am Sage, and this is Emoja. Emoja will interpret our affirmation in American Sign Language. We invite you to please join us in sharing our unison affirmation. First Unitarian Church, Wilmington, is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action.
Hello, everyone. Before we begin our story, let's take a moment to think about how often we get advice. Sometimes advice is helpful. Sometimes it's confusing. And sometimes, even when people mean well, their voices can drown out our own voice and thoughts. Today, we are exploring the power of paying attention. This story focuses on the power of paying attention to the wisdom within. In our faith, we talk about the wisdom of our own hearts and minds, that inner knowledge that helps us guide when we slow and pay attention. As we listen to today's story, pay attention to 1, who is giving the advice, 2, who is making the decisions, and 3, whose voice might be missing. Once upon a time, there was a fruit vendor. The fruit vendor wanted to attract new customers to his cart, so he decided to put up a board near his cart that said, "Fresh fruits sold here." One day, a man came up to him.
We have seen you all sell fruits, and most of the time it is fresh. So why have you put up a board saying fresh? Why do you require this advertisement? You should rub off the word fresh.
The vendor did so, leaving the words, "Fruits sold here" on the board. After some time, a woman came along.
Hey dude, we know you are selling fruits and not vegetables, so why have the word fruit on the board? Please wipe it off.
The vendor complied. And now, left on the board were only 2 words, "Sold here." After some time, an elderly individual approached.
If you are sitting in the market, are you giving fruits for free? Take off that word "sold" from the board.
The vendor did so, and the whiteboard now only had 1 word left, "Here." A young lady soon passed by.
Everyone in the world knows you are sitting here and not there. Why have the word "here" on your board?
The fruit vendor erased the last word from the board. The board was now clean and empty. Another person then came up to the fruit vendor.
Only a silly man would have such a nice board empty. You should write something to advertise your fruits, like a sale of the day.
What's great about this story is how it reminds us that while it's good to listen to others, we also need to pay attention to the wisdom within ourselves. When we only follow the voices outside, we never check in with our inner voice. We can lose what truly matters to us. Now, all ages are welcome to join us for the entire worship service if they like. Newborns through 4th graders are invited to join Simona at the doors for childcare if they wish. Please join in singing the children out. The words will be on the screen.
Today's prayer is "Who We Listen to is Who We Become" by Reverend Scott Taylor. Let us turn inward in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Sometimes the world outside us can be so loud, making it harder to hear those voices we once knew so well, voices that once knew us so well. And so to the silence we turn, to listen for, the echoes of memories that make us whole, the pain of others that reawakens our hearts, and the beauty of this wildly generous world that wants us back. This is the attention that saves us, heals us, opens us, and expands us. So, friends, in the stillness of this space, let us not listen for clarity and guidance, but to become larger. But those voices, whispering from deep within, are not just calling us home. They are home. We must remember this. What we give our attention to is who we become. Yes, sometimes the world outside can be so loud, leaving us lost, but waiting and willing to be our companion, gently calling us to shift our attention and reclaim ourselves. Now, please join in a moment of shared silence. This is the time for our prayers of the people. You are invited to call out the names of those who are in your heart and on your mind. May those whose names are spoken and unspoken find peace and healing to this day.
Hi, I'm Sage, and today I will be reading Maisie's part since she is unable to attend. Today I'd like to talk about finding balance with responsibilities, commitments, and joy. Over Christmas break, I had loads of homework, speeches, presentations, math, which I hate, and more. Throughout the entire Christmas break, I delayed my homework more and more. But I was having trouble enjoying my time off because I knew that I had all of this other work that needed to be done. I felt like I was holding a huge backpack, and every day it seemed to get heavier. I wanted to have fun and forget about it, but just couldn't, as every day got closer to school starting again. My responsibilities were getting in the way of my joy, but I've come to learn that responsibilities are not the opposite of joy. They make room for it. When we take care of what we need to do, our backpack gets lighter and we can have fun doing what makes us feel alive. But on the other hand, when all you do is focus on your duties, you wear yourself out and push away joy. The long list of things that should be done and people to help is sometimes never ending. You need to remember that you don't need to set yourself on fire to keep everyone else warm. Make sure to protect some time for your own joy. All in all, responsibilities and commitments are like watering a garden. If you never water it, nothing will grow. But if all you ever do is water and never stop to enjoy the flowers, you will miss the joy.
Relationships are one of the defining characteristics of our lives. But how do we maintain them? How do we make sure we're paying attention to what the people we hold these bonds with need? How do we build and maintain a strong and healthy relationship? Budgeting our attention in our relationships with the people in our lives is vital in order to strike balance and make sure we're focused on the wants and needs of others, while also making sure our needs are seen and respected as well. Throughout our lives, we build bonds with all kinds of individuals, and each of these bonds requires attention and care to flourish. A relationship is like a bridge where two or sometimes more people enter a bond with each other. A bridge is formed between them. All relationships are built on trust, honesty, and communication. They require one's time and attention and should not be strained to a breaking point. All relationships are built with communication or trust as their foundation. The more trust there is, the stronger the bond becomes. Trust is not an easy material to obtain for your bridge. It is earned slowly and is quite fragile. However, once an immense amount of trust is gained, almost nothing can shake the bond that is formed. Paying attention in a relationship of any kind is critically important to maintaining it. Reflecting on our relationships helps us be more mindful of what we could be doing better. In a literal sense, we can ask ourselves, am I paying attention to my friends and loved ones? Perhaps you weren't paying attention to a loved one's feelings, or maybe you weren't paying attention to what someone said and it ended in a grave miscommunication. One thing that every relationship needs, no matter what kind, is communication. Communicating when something upsets you helps build trust with the other person. Honesty is one of the most important aspects of any relationship, and it's the foundation upon which the rest of your relationship stands. When people trust each other, they're happier and they feel like they can be honest with another and feel like they're being heard. Maintaining trust helps people form close bonds that allow people to weather any storm together. Each bridge also has a weight limit, or an amount of pressure that they can hold. Relationships function much the same way. Each person in a relationship has a limit, and we need to pay attention and make sure that we're not asking too much of someone, which may lead to us jeopardizing that relationship and weakening the trust that built it. We should be aware of how much we ask of others, and if, perhaps, we're burdening someone more and causing them stress instead of alleviating it. We never finish building our bridges with others. They constantly grow and evolve. Sometimes relationships grow farther apart, sometimes closer, and sometimes there are obstacles that we have to overcome. Sometimes they grow deeper and form new layers. Regardless, relationships are critically important. They make us human, and they keep us sane in difficult times. We must make sure that we are honest and that we communicate with others in order to build a strong foundation of trust for the relationship to stand on. Our relationships with others give our lives more meaning. Stronger bonds make our day more enjoyable and let us feel more connected to each other and the wider world. We should always nurture these bonds and give them, the people who we share these bonds with, the proper attention and honest communication.
I am Matthias Merrick. Some of you may know me as Matt. I want to start with a quick reflection. Think about the last time you were outside, somewhere peaceful. Maybe sitting under a tree, walking through a park, or feeling the sun on your face. For a moment, think about how you felt in that space. Were you calmer, more focused, maybe just a little bit more free? I now want to invite you to think about nature not just as something around us, but as a friend. A friend is something that helps us grow, helps us think, and sometimes just helps us breathe. When we step outside, whether it's a forest or a beach, or even just a small city park, we often feel a sense of freedom. The noise in our heads gets quieter, and it becomes easier to focus on what really matters. Our relationship with the environment around us is actually really important for our own mental growth. Spending time in nature gives us space to reflect. It lets us slow down and notice the things we might otherwise miss. Nature also gives us powerful perspectives and metaphors for everyday life. Think about trees that bend during storms, but never break, or seasons that remind us that change is natural. These moments can help us understand our own challenges in a new way. There are real psychological benefits to being around nature. As psychologist Kirsten Weir wrote in a 2025 article for the American Psychological Association, exposure to nature has been linked to improved attention, lower stress, better mood, and even greater empathy and cooperation. Part of that might be because nature helps us get comfortable with ourselves. When we spend time quietly observing the world around us, we learn patience, awareness, and balance. Those qualities can help us build stronger relationships with other people as well. I'd like to also talk about how this friend can help us balance time with technology. Today, a lot of our lives happen through screens, with that being phones, computers, social media, and constant notifications. Technology can be useful, but it also asks for our attention all the time. It can make our minds feel busy, distracted, and sometimes even overwhelmed. Nature offers something very different. When we spend time outside, our attention doesn't feel forced. We might notice the movement of leaves in the wind, the sound of birds, or the feeling of sunlight and fresh air. Psychologists describe this idea through something called attention restoration theory, which suggests that natural environments help our brains recover from mental fatigue. Nature slows things down. It gives our mind a chance to rest and reset. So when technology starts to feel overwhelming, sometimes the best response is simple. Step outside, take a breath, reconnect with the natural world around you while thinking of nature as a friend, one that listens, teaches, and reminds us that we are part of something bigger. Thank you.
Paying attention to our own needs can be difficult. We don't want to appear self-centered, which leads us to making sacrifices. If we make too many sacrifices, we run the risk of neglecting ourselves and what we need. Sometimes we need a reminder to be self-aware. If we don't pay enough attention to ourselves, we may not be aware and attentive to our own body's needs, such as a day to rest or some downtime. Then again, sorry. Where was I? Okay. Then again, how are we supposed to focus on ourselves when everything else seems more important? Paying attention to yourself is not something you do only for you. When we neglect ourselves, we cannot do our best for others, and we may struggle to focus on our responsibilities. Imagine everything that holds our attention as part of a whole. As part of a whole. There's the news, politics, the environmental and global conflict. They seem to hover over our heads. Oh God, it's not going on. They seem to hover over our heads and take root amongst our worries, distracting us from what really matters, and making us question, why aren't we doing more? Then there are our responsibilities. Work, school, chores, and other commitments. On top of these, we have relationships, which need effort and attention to be healthy. But when all is said and done, where is room for ourselves? It may feel like all of our attention has already been budgeted between these other areas. This can mean that you may not be budgeting your attention effectively. Poor budgeting of our focus can make it easy to overlook taking care of ourselves. But how do we budget our attention and still make room for ourselves? We should carefully budget the amount of time we pay, the amount of attention we pay to our own being and needs. We can refocus some attention away from things outside of our control. After this comes rebudgeting. When rebudgeting our attention, it is important that we divide our attention more evenly between our everyday life, our relationships, and our responsibilities, our relationships, and ourselves. Ensuring that we have time for ourselves is important for our well-being and can be achieved by refocusing where our attention goes and how much of it goes where. To do this, we have to be okay with not focusing heavily on things outside of our control and in our future. Pivot instead to focusing on what you can control. The present is full of your friends, family, commitments, and ourselves. The present is a gift to cherish, but we have no present if we neglect ourselves.
Today's stewardship moment is What We Say Yes To by Erica A. Hewitt. The offering that we take each Sunday isn't just a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place and to this people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With our gift freely given, we may say yes to the values of our faith. May our offering help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to empower our mission. While some of our youth and choir members share, "Let this be a house of peace," the ushers will pass the velvet baskets and the ways you can donate will appear on the screen. Your generous contributions will be gratefully accepted. Please join me into dedicating our offering to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action. We dedicate our lives and these are offerings.
Okay. Oh. In her book, An Altar in the World, Barbara Brown Taylor shares that the practice of paying attention is as simple as turning off the television to learn the song of a single bird. Why should anyone do such things? I cannot imagine, unless one is wary of crossing days off the calendar with no sense of what makes the last day different from the next. Think about that for a second. What makes today any different from yesterday? Or tomorrow, for that matter? Are you alive or just existing? Are you truly paying attention to the world around you? Do you feel life's joy and sorrow? Can you see life in all of its vibrant colors? Or is your life just a video on loop? Reclaiming our attention is reclaiming our life. And of course, life isn't easy. You're going to feel grief. You're going to feel pain. But feeling is what makes us human. Knowing that we have a limited time on earth is what makes this time so precious. It motivates us to strive for a better tomorrow, and it is what has motivated me to talk and share my perspective today. This time we have is indeed precious, but rushing to the next thing isn't the way to live a satisfying life. For my fellow youth and I, this is, of course, an obstacle. Life feels rushed, and it's always about getting to the next thing. First, getting good grades, then getting into a good college, having a job, raising a family, etc. The pressure is so overwhelming that sometimes we forget to stop and pay attention to the present moment. And before we know it, we are simply just existing. There is a poem I would like to share called The Dash by Linda Ellis. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between the years. For that dash represents all the time that they spent life on earth, and now only those who love them know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live in love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what is true and real, and always try to, sorry guys, and always try to understand the way that other people feel. Be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? As Unitarian Universalists, we have shared values that help guide us to living a more meaningful dash. Leaning in and paying attention to what aligns with these values, or perhaps our own personal ones, will help you to live a more balanced life. Paying attention to things, however, that don't align with your values or affect you negatively will lead to negative outcomes. After all, like the common saying, you are what you eat, you are what you pay attention to. Our attention is in our hands. Though it is often hard to balance and filter what we pay attention to, but it isn't impossible. And it is a life-changing act. It's up to you. So how do you budget your attention? Thank you.
If you have children at home, if you have a chalice at home, please. If you have a chalice at home, please join in extinguishing it with these words by Reverend Michelle Collins. The flame goes out. 1,000 things now wait for your attention. Choose carefully what receives your gaze, your time, your wonder. For what we tend to is what we become.
Our worship ends, but not our commitment to our responsibilities and ourselves. May we carry the lesson of paying attention with us into our lives. May we make room for our commitments while also balancing the things we find comfort in. May we strive for honest communication with others in order to feel more connected with each other in the world. May we be attentive to our own needs, so that way we may take better care of ourselves. May we take these lessons into our lives and make each day better than the last. Please rise in body or spirit and sing our closing hymn. The words are on the screen.
Now in peace, go now in peace. May all love and light surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May all love and light surround you everywhere, everywhere.
Amen.